Princess Zixandra walked through the halls of Concordia Station with her head held high. Her purple skin gleamed under the artificial lights, and the silver markings on her face showed her royal blood. Every alien they passed bowed their heads in respect. She was the smartest military leader in the Valtharian Empire, and everyone knew it. The princess had never lost a battle. Not even once. Her people called her the Mind of War because she could see every move her enemies would make before they made it. Today, she would add another victory to her long list. Marcus Chun stood in the training bay, checking his equipment. He was shorter than most aliens on the station, but his muscles showed years of fighting. Scars covered his arms and hands. His dark eyes watched everything around him, never staying still for too long. The other humans called him Iron Will because he never gave up, no matter how bad things got. "So you are the human fighter," Princess Zixandra said as she entered the training bay. Her voice was cold and proud. "I have heard stories about your kind. You fight without thinking. No plan, no strategy. Just chaos." Marcus looked up from his gear. He had heard about the princess too. The aliens said she was impossible to beat in any kind of battle. They also said she was very proud and did not like humans much. "Stories can be wrong," Marcus said. He kept working on his equipment. "Maybe you should find out for yourself." The princess smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Very well. I challenge you to combat trials in the virtual reality chambers. 5 different battles. Winner takes all. What are we betting?" Marcus asked. He finally looked at her directly. The princess felt something strange when their eyes met. Humans had such intense stares. "My personal quarters for the week of the summit against your famous combat suit," she said. "I have the best rooms on the station. You probably sleep in some tiny box." Marcus thought about it. The princess's quarters were huge and had amazing views of space. His room was indeed very small. But there was something else. The way she made the bet felt like she was testing him, not just trying to win something nice. "Deal," he said. "But we do this fair. No special advantages for either side." "Agreed," the princess said. "Tomorrow morning we begin." News of the bet spread quickly through the station. Aliens gathered in small groups, talking in excited whispers. Most thought the princess would win easily. Humans were known for being tough, but Princess Zixandra had beaten the best warriors from dozens of different species. That night, Marcus studied everything he could find about Valtharian fighting styles. They were perfect soldiers who followed plans exactly. Every move was calculated. Every attack had 3 backup plans. They were like living computers that never made mistakes. The princess spent her evening reviewing human combat records. What she saw confused her. Humans seemed to have no clear fighting style. They changed tactics in the middle of battle. They used whatever they could find as weapons. Sometimes they even hurt themselves to win. It made no sense to her ordered mind. The next morning, hundreds of beings crowded around the viewing screens in the training bay. The princess wore her best ceremonial armor, polished until it shone. Marcus wore his simple combat gear, looking calm and ready. The first battle simulation put them in a destroyed city. The goal was to reach the center and claim a flag. Princess Zixandra moved like a dancer, using cover perfectly and advancing with mathematical precision. Marcus ran straight through the middle, dodging attacks and using broken walls to jump higher than should have been possible. The princess reached the flag first, but Marcus tackled her before she could claim it. They fought hand to hand, rolling through broken glass and rubble. The princess was faster and more skilled, but Marcus kept getting back up no matter how hard she hit him. Finally, he grabbed the flag while she was preparing her next perfect attack. "Impossible," she whispered. No one had ever beaten her by just refusing to stay down. The second battle was in space, using fighter ships. The princess flew in perfect formations, using every trick her military academy had taught her. Marcus flew like he was falling, spinning and diving in ways that made no sense. He crashed his ship into an asteroid to use the explosion to destroy 2 of her escort ships. The princess won this round, but she was shaking by the end. The third battle took place in a jungle. The princess set up perfect ambushes and moved like a shadow. Marcus lit fires, made noise, and charged through her traps. He lost this round badly, but he was learning her patterns. The fourth battle was in a maze. The princess mapped it perfectly and found the shortest route to the exit. Marcus punched through walls that were supposed to be unbreakable, creating his own shortcuts. They both reached the finish at the same time, making it a tie. The final battle would decide everything. They stood on a platform surrounded by energy barriers. The only weapons were what they could find. The princess had already planned 17 different ways to win. She watched Marcus pace around like a caged animal. The battle began. The princess moved gracefully, staying just out of Marcus's reach while she tired him out. Her plan was working perfectly. Marcus was breathing hard, and his movements were getting slower. Then Marcus did something that no Valtharian would ever try. He punched the energy barrier with his bare hand. The barrier was supposed to be unbreakable. It was designed to hurt anyone who touched it. But Marcus hit it again and again. Even as the energy burned his skin, cracks appeared in the barrier. The princess stared in shock. The barrier was failing because Marcus was too stubborn to accept that it was impossible to break. Marcus punched through the barrier and grabbed one of the power cores. He threw it at the princess, who dodged perfectly. But Marcus was not trying to hit her. The power core exploded against another barrier, causing a chain reaction. All the barriers fell down. In the confusion, Marcus tackled the princess and pinned her down. She could have escaped, but she was too amazed by what he had done to think clearly. "You won," she said quietly. "I do not understand how, but you won." Marcus helped her stand up. Sometimes the best plan is to have no plan at all. Princess Xandra looked at her hands. They were shaking slightly. For the first time in her life, she had lost. And she had lost to someone who broke every rule she believed in. "A deal is a deal," she said. "My quarters are yours for the week." "Our quarters," Marcus corrected. "The bet was for your quarters, not for you to leave. I think we both earned the right to stay there." The princess felt her face burn with embarrassment. She had not thought about that part. Now she would have to share her private space with this strange human who fought like chaos itself. "Very well," she said, "but do not expect me to like it." Marcus smiled for the first time since the battle began. "I never expect anyone to like me, princess. I just expect them to respect me." As they walked toward her quarters together, Princess Xandra wondered what she had gotten herself into. She also wondered why the thought of sharing her space with this human made her feel something she had never felt before. Something that might have been excitement. The princess's quarters were bigger than Marcus's entire apartment back on Earth. Tall windows showed the stars spinning slowly as the station rotated. Expensive furniture filled the main room, and exotic plants from the princess's homeworld grew in special containers. "This is the sleeping chamber," Princess Xandra said, opening a door. Inside was one large bed covered in soft purple fabric. It was easily big enough for both of them, but the princess looked like she wanted to run away. Marcus set his bag down and looked around. Everything was perfect and organized. Even the air smelled like some kind of expensive perfume. "Nice place," he said. "I can sleep on the couch in the main room if you want." "No," the princess said quickly. Then she looked embarrassed. "I mean, the bet was clear. We share the quarters. All of them." That night, Marcus learned that aliens had very different sleeping habits. Princess Xandra spent an hour arranging her things in exactly the right places. She lit special candles that smelled like flowers. Then she sat on the bed and closed her eyes, breathing in a slow rhythm. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked. He was already in his sleeping clothes, ready to lie down. "Preparing for the deep rest," she said without opening her eyes. "My people must enter a meditative state before sleep. It is how we process the day's experiences and prepare our minds for tomorrow." Marcus watched her breathe. Her whole body seemed to relax, like she was melting into the bed. After 20 minutes, she lay down and pulled the covers up to her chin. Within seconds, she was completely still. Marcus had never seen anything like it. She looked almost dead. Her breathing was so slow he had to watch carefully to see her chest move. When he accidentally dropped his boot, she did not even twitch. This worried Marcus. On Earth, sleeping deeply like that would get you killed. Predators or enemies could attack while you were helpless. How did her people survive if they became unconscious every night? Marcus lay down on his side of the large bed. He tried to sleep, but his body would not relax. Every sound in the station made him alert. When the lights dimmed automatically, he opened his eyes to check the room. When the air system made a noise, his hand moved toward his knife. Around midnight, Marcus finally started to drift off. Then he heard Princess Xandra make a small sound, like she was afraid. He was awake instantly, looking around for threats. But there was nothing wrong. She had just moved in her sleep. Marcus realized the princess was completely vulnerable. If someone attacked right now, she would not wake up until it was too late. The thought made him feel protective, which surprised him. He barely knew her, and she clearly did not trust humans much. But as he watched her sleep so peacefully, Marcus decided he would stay alert. Just in case. The next morning, Princess Xandra woke up exactly 8 hours later. She sat up slowly, stretching like a cat. Then she saw Marcus sitting in a chair by the window, already dressed and drinking coffee. "Did you sleep?" she asked. Her voice sounded different in the morning, softer and less formal. Marcus said. "I do not sleep deeply." "Old habit. From the war?" she asked. She had read about the human conflicts. "From growing up on a dangerous world," Marcus said. "Animals, weather, other people. Earth teaches you to stay alert or die." Princess Xandra stared at him. "You were guarding me." It was not a question. Somehow she knew. Marcus felt his face get warm. "Not really guarding," he said. "Just staying aware. Like I always do." "My people would call that mate-bonding behavior," she said quietly. "Only family or partners watch over each other during the deep rest. It is a sacred trust." Marcus set down his coffee cup. "I did not know. I was just doing what felt natural." "What felt natural?" she repeated. "Even when you barely know me. Even when I have been rude to you." She looked confused and amazed at the same time. That day they attended diplomatic meetings together. Marcus watched the princess work with different alien species. She was brilliant at finding solutions that made everyone happy. Her mind worked so fast that she could solve problems while others were still trying to understand them. But Marcus also noticed that she became uncomfortable whenever the discussions became emotional or unpredictable. When a trade representative started shouting about unfair treaties, the princess froze up. She could handle logic and facts, but anger and chaos seemed to confuse her. During lunch, they sat together in the station's main dining area. Other aliens watched them with curious eyes. A princess eating with a human mercenary was big news. "Your people are very logical," Marcus said, eating something that looked like purple rice. "Logic keeps us alive," Princess Xandra replied. "When everyone follows the plan, no one gets hurt unnecessarily. What happens when the plan does not work?" Marcus asked that the princess paused, her fork halfway to her mouth. Plans always work if they are made correctly. But yesterday, I broke your plan by punching through the barrier, Marcus pointed out. That was different, she said. But she sounded less sure than before. Was it? What if your enemies are like me? What if they do things that make no sense? Princess Zixandra put down her fork. Then my people would be in serious trouble. That afternoon, they visited the station's observation deck. Huge windows showed the deep space around them. Other ships moved slowly in the distance like metal fish swimming through an ocean of stars. Tell me about your world, Marcus said. They stood side by side, looking out at the cosmos. Valther Prime is beautiful, the princess said. Her voice became warm when she talked about home. Purple oceans, silver cities, mountains that touch the sky. Everything is in perfect harmony. No wars, no chaos, no unpredictability. Sounds peaceful, Marcus said, but also kind of boring. Princess Zixandra looked shocked. Boring? We have art, science, philosophy. We have achieved perfect society. Perfect for who? Marcus asked. What happens to people who do not fit the perfect plan? What happens when someone wants to try something new? The princess was quiet for a long time. Marcus wondered if he had said something wrong. There was a time, she said slowly, when I wanted to be an artist instead of a warrior. I loved painting the sunrise over our capital city. But my family said artists were not needed. The empire required soldiers and strategists. So you gave up painting? I threw away all my art supplies the day I entered the military academy, she said. It was the logical choice. Marcus looked at her profile as she stared out at the stars. Do you ever miss it? Missing things that cannot be changed is illogical, she said. But her voice sounded sad. That night, the sleeping arrangements felt different. Princess Zixandra did her meditation ritual, but she kept glancing at Marcus. When she finally lay down, she did not fall asleep as quickly as before. Marcus? She said in the darkness. Yeah? Why did you stay awake to watch over me last night? Marcus thought about his answer. On Earth, we have pack animals that take turns staying alert while others sleep. I guess humans are still pack animals in some ways. Even with someone who is not part of your pack. Maybe you are part of my pack now, Marcus said quietly. Princess Zixandra felt something warm spread through her chest. No one had ever made her feel protected before. In her world, showing weakness was dangerous. But with Marcus watching over her, she felt safe to be vulnerable. Will you do it again tonight? She asked. If you want me to. I want you to, she whispered as Marcus settled into his watching position. Princess Zixandra closed her eyes and entered the deep rest. For the first time in her life, she dreamed of painting sunrises while someone strong and loyal kept her safe from the darkness. The emergency sirens woke them both at 3 in the morning. Princess Zixandra sat up immediately, her training kicking in. Red lights flashed outside their windows, and the station's computer voice echoed through the halls. All personnel report to emergency stations. We are under attack. This is not a drill. Marcus was already putting on his combat gear. How did you wake up so fast? He asked. I thought your people slept deeply. Emergency training overrides the deep rest, the princess said, pulling on her armor. But it takes most of my people several minutes to become fully alert. How are you already ready to fight? Humans do not really turn off, Marcus said, checking his weapons. We just rest with one eye open. They ran toward the command center together. The hallways were full of confused aliens stumbling around in panic. Most species needed time to wake up properly, but the attackers had planned for that. Status report. Princess Zixandra commanded when they reached the security office. Pirates. Your Highness, the station commander said. He was a tall alien with 6 arms, all of them shaking with fear. 3 ships. They came out of nowhere and started shooting. Our shields are at 60% and falling. What do they want? Marcus asked. The diplomatic pouches, the commander said. Trade secrets, military plans, everything the delegations brought for the summit. Worth millions of credits on the black market. Princess Xandra moved to the tactical display. Her fingers danced over the controls, bringing up ship positions and weapon ranges. Show me their attack pattern. Marcus looked over her shoulder as data flowed across the screen. The pirates were hitting the station from 3 different directions, but there was something strange about their timing. They are not following any logical strategy, the princess said, frowning. Their attacks make no sense. They should focus their firepower, but instead, they keep changing targets randomly. That is the strategy, Marcus said. They are fighting like humans. Impossible. Humans are not pirates. No, but human military tactics spread fast, Marcus explained. Chaotic attacks, random timing, unexpected moves. It confuses enemies who expect logical patterns. The station shook as another blast hit the shields. The commander's 6 arms were working frantically at different control panels. Shields at 40%, he reported. They will break through in 15 minutes. Princess Xandra stared at the tactical display. All her training told her to create a defensive plan with backup strategies. But every plan she made fell apart because the pirates kept doing unpredictable things. I cannot fight this, she admitted. Their chaos defeats my logic. Then stop trying to be logical, Marcus said. Fight chaos with chaos. I do not know how. Marcus put his hand on her shoulder. You do not have to. You make the plan. I will make it work when everything goes wrong. Princess Xandra looked into his eyes and saw complete confidence. He believed in her, even when she did not believe in herself. Very well, she said. Commander, evacuate all non-essential personnel to the center of the station. Seal the blast doors on levels 5 through 15. That will trap us in the command section, the commander protested. Exactly, the princess said. They will have to come to us. Marcus, take 20 security officers and set up defensive positions in the main corridor. When they break through, you will know what to do. Marcus nodded and ran toward the armory. Princess Xandra turned back to the tactical display and began coordinating the station's defenses with mathematical precision. 20 minutes later, the pirates blasted through the outer hull. Princess Xandra watched their progress on security cameras. They moved in small groups, checking every room for the diplomatic pouches. They are searching systematically, she told Marcus through the radio. Very human-like behavior. They will reach your position in 8 minutes. Copy that, Marcus replied. Any specific instructions? Win, the princess said. Do whatever you do best. The first group of pirates appeared at the end of the corridor. They wore mismatched armor and carried weapons from a dozen different worlds. Marcus counted 15 enemies against his 20 defenders. The pirates expected a normal firefight with everyone taking cover and shooting carefully. Instead, Marcus did something completely unexpected. He charged straight at them, yelling at the top of his lungs. The other security officers hesitated for a moment, then followed him. The pirates were so surprised that they forgot to shoot for several seconds. By the time they reacted, Marcus was already among them, fighting hand to hand. What is he doing? Princess Xandra whispered as she watched the security cameras. Marcus was fighting 3 pirates at once, using his bare hands against their weapons. He should take cover. But Marcus's crazy attack worked. The pirates panicked and started shooting wildly. They hit each other more than they hit the defenders. Within minutes, the first group was defeated. Corridor secured, Marcus reported. He was breathing hard, but sounded excited. Where are they now? Second group is coming through the maintenance tunnels, the princess said. They will try to flank you from behind. On my way, Marcus said. But instead of taking his security team with him, he went alone. Princess Zixandra watched in horror as Marcus crawled through the tunnels toward the second group of pirates. This was not part of any logical plan. He was supposed to coordinate with her strategy, not abandon it completely. But as she watched, the princess began to understand. The pirates expected organized resistance. They had planned for logical defensive positions and coordinated attacks. Marcus was doing none of those things. He was pure chaos, and it was working. Marcus appeared behind the second group like a ghost. He disabled their leader silently, then started making noise to confuse the others. The pirates stumbled around in the dark tunnels, shooting at shadows while Marcus picked them off one by one. Amazing, Princess Zixandra breathed. He is fighting like a predator, not a soldier. The third group of pirates tried to reach the command center through the main elevator shaft. Princess Zixandra was ready for them. She had calculated their route perfectly and sealed all the exits except one. They will have to come through the north entrance, she told Marcus. I have them trapped. Beautiful work, Marcus said. Set up crossfire positions and wait for my signal. What signal? The princess asked. But Marcus was already moving. Instead of waiting for the pirates to reach the command center, Marcus went hunting for them. He found them trying to cut through a sealed door and attacked them from above, dropping down from an air vent like some kind of monster. The pirates had trained to fight other pirates, not someone who fought like a wild animal. Marcus used everything around him as a weapon. Light fixtures became clubs. Broken pipes became spears. Even his own blood, when they managed to wound him, became a tool to blind his enemies. Princess Zixandra coordinated the final assault with perfect timing. As Marcus drove the remaining pirates toward the command center, her security teams were waiting. Caught between Marcus's chaos and her logic, the pirates surrendered quickly. Station secured, the princess announced over the radio. All pirates captured or neutralized. When Marcus finally returned to the command center, he was covered in cuts and bruises. His clothes were torn and he was limping slightly. But he was grinning like he had just won the greatest prize in the galaxy. Are you injured? Princess Zixandra asked, running to him. Nothing serious, Marcus said. How did I do? You ignored every order I gave you, she said. But she was smiling too. You abandoned all logical tactics. You fought like a complete savage. Sorry, Marcus said, not looking sorry at all. It was perfect. Princess Zixandra finished. I could never have defeated them alone. My logic needed your chaos. Your chaos needed my logic too, Marcus pointed out. You trapped them so I could hunt them. We make a good team. Princess Zixandra looked around the command center. Other aliens were staring at them with new respect. A human and a Valtharian had just saved the entire station by working together. Yes, she said quietly. We do make a good team. That night, they returned to their quarters, exhausted but victorious. Princess Zixandra sat on the bed, still wearing her damaged armor. I have been thinking, she said. My people have a problem. What kind of problem? Marcus asked, cleaning his weapons. We can only fight enemies who think like us, she said. Logical enemies who follow patterns. But the galaxy is full of chaotic species like humans. How will we defend ourselves? Marcus looked up from his knife. You could learn to think like us. Is that possible? You did it tonight, Marcus said. You let me be chaos while you stayed logical. Maybe that is the answer. Do not try to change what you are. Just learn to work with what we are. Princess Zixandra lay down on the bed without doing her usual meditation ritual. She was too excited to sleep deeply. For the first time in her life, she had seen her people's weakness. But she had also seen a solution. "Marcus?" she said in the darkness. "Yeah? Thank you for showing me a different way to fight." "Thank you for trusting me when I went crazy," Marcus replied. "Will you watch over me again tonight?" "Always," Marcus said. And for the first time since they had met, Princess Zixandra felt like she had found something more valuable than victory. She had found a partner. The next morning, Princess Zixandra woke up to find Marcus already gone. She found him in the station's medical bay, helping treat wounded aliens from the pirate attack. His hands were gentle as he bandaged a small alien child who was crying for her parents. "The doctor said you were not seriously hurt," the princess said, approaching his bedside. "I am not," Marcus said, finishing the bandage. "But there were others who needed help more than I needed sleep." Princess Zixandra watched him work. The human was speaking softly to each patient, learning their names and asking about their families. When the small alien child finally stopped crying, Marcus gave her a piece of candy from his emergency rations. "You carry candy in your combat gear?" the princess asked. "Kids get scared during fighting," Marcus explained. "Sometimes a piece of candy helps more than medicine." This was not behavior the princess expected from a mercenary. She had read that human fighters were brutal and selfish. But Marcus seemed to care about complete strangers more than himself. "Why do you help them?" she asked. "You do not know these people." Marcus looked surprised by the question. "They are hurt and I can help." "Why would I not?" "Because it is not logical," Princess Zixandra said. "Helping strangers uses energy and resources without giving you any benefit." "Maybe humans define benefit differently than your people do," Marcus said. He moved to the next patient, an elderly alien with a broken arm. Princess Zixandra followed him, watching carefully. Every person Marcus helped looked at him with gratitude and respect. By the time he finished, word had spread through the station. The human fighter who had saved them was now healing them too. "I think I understand," the princess said as they walked back to their quarters. "Helping others makes your tribe stronger. It is a long-term survival strategy." "Maybe," Marcus said. "Or maybe it just feels good to help." "Feels good?" Princess Zixandra stopped walking. "You do it because of emotions? Do your people not have emotions?" "We have them," the princess said carefully. "But we do not let them control our decisions. Emotions lead to mistakes." "Sometimes," Marcus agreed. "But they also lead to courage, compassion, and creativity. The things that make life worth living." That afternoon, they worked together to help repair the station's damaged systems. Princess Zixandra coordinated the technical work with perfect efficiency. She knew exactly which repairs were most important and how to organize the work crews. But when a young alien engineer made a mistake that caused a power failure, the princess became frustrated. The engineers started crying, afraid of being punished. "It is just an error in calculation," Princess Zixandra said coldly. "Fix it and do not make the same mistake again." The young engineer cried harder, overwhelmed by shame and fear. Princess Zixandra looked confused. She had given clear, logical instructions. Why was the engineer still upset? Marcus knelt down next to the young alien. "Hey, what is your name?" "Blix," the engineer stammered. "Blix, I have made that same mistake before," Marcus said kindly. "Everyone has. The important thing is learning from it. Can you show me what went wrong?" Blix wiped her eyes and explained the mistake. Marcus listened carefully, then helped her fix the problem. Within minutes, Blix was smiling again and working confidently. "How did you do that?" Princess Zixandra asked quietly. "Do what?" "Make her feel better. I told her the same thing you did, but she only got more upset." "You told her what to do," Marcus explained. "I told her she was not alone. Sometimes people need to feel understood before they can think clearly." Princess Zixandra watched Blix work happily at her station. The young engineer was now twice as productive as before, and she kept looking at Marcus with admiration. Emotional support increases efficiency, the princess murmured, like she was taking notes. I never considered that. Your people really do not use emotions in decisions? Marcus asked. Emotions are private, Princess Zixandra said. We feel them, but we do not show them or act on them. It would be shameful. What about happiness? Love? Excitement? All private, the princess said. But her voice sounded sad. That evening, they ate dinner in their quarters instead of the public dining area. Princess Zixandra had ordered food from her homeworld, and the strange dishes filled the room with exotic smells. This is calla fruit, she said, offering Marcus a purple slice. It grows only on the mountains of Valther Prime. Marcus tasted it. The fruit was sweet and tart at the same time, with a flavor unlike anything on earth. It is delicious. Do you miss home? Princess Zixandra paused with her fork halfway to her mouth. Missing home serves no purpose when duty requires me to be elsewhere. That is not what I asked, Marcus said gently. I asked if you miss it, not whether missing it is logical. The princess set down her fork and stared at her plate. For a long moment, she said nothing. Every day, she finally whispered, I miss the silver spires of the capital city. I miss the purple ocean at sunset. I miss my sister's laugh and my father's stories. I miss painting the sunrise from my bedroom window. Why did you stop painting? Marcus asked. Because I was good at strategy and war, she said. My family needed a military leader, not an artist. The empire needed my skills. What did you need? Princess Zixandra looked up at him with wide eyes. No one had ever asked her that question before. I needed to paint, she said, so quietly he almost could not hear her. I needed to create beautiful things instead of planning how to destroy them. Do you still remember how? I remember everything, she said. But I threw away my supplies years ago. Marcus left the table and went to his bag. He pulled out a small notebook and some pencils that he used for tactical drawings. It is not much, he said, offering them to her. But maybe you could try again. Princess Zixandra stared at the simple supplies like they were made of gold. Her hand shook as she reached for them. I could not, she said. It would be inappropriate. Who says? Marcus asked. You are a princess. You can do whatever you want. I can do whatever the empire needs, she corrected. What if the empire needs leaders who remember how to create beautiful things? Marcus suggested. What if the empire needs people who understand emotions and art and all the things that make life worth living? Princess Zixandra picked up one of the pencils. It felt familiar in her hand, like meeting an old friend. My father used to say that a true leader must understand both war and peace, she said slowly. I have spent so many years studying war that I forgot about peace. It is not too late to remember, Marcus said. Princess Zixandra opened the notebook to a blank page. For several minutes, she just stared at it. Then, slowly, she began to draw. Her hand moved confidently, creating lines and shapes that seemed to flow like water. Marcus watched in amazement as a picture emerged. It was the view from their window, but transformed by her artist's eye. The stars became jewels scattered on black silk. The distant planets became pearls floating in space. The space station itself became a silver flower blooming in the cosmic garden. It is beautiful, Marcus said when she finished. You are incredibly talented. I am out of practice, Princess Zixandra said. But she was smiling for the first time since he had met her. A real smile, not the cold formal expression she usually wore. Why did your people decide that emotions and art were useless? Marcus asked. Because they led to wars in the past, she explained. 2,000 years ago, our people fought constantly over different ideas about beauty and truth. Millions died. So we decided to follow only logic and efficiency. But logic without emotion is incomplete, Marcus said. How do you decide what goals are worth pursuing? How do you know what kind of life is worth living? Princess Zixandra looked down at her drawing. I think we forgot to ask those questions. Maybe it is time to start asking them again. That night, Princess Zixandra did not do her meditation ritual. Instead, she sat by the window and drew more pictures while Marcus cleaned his gear. She drew memories of her home world, sketches of the aliens they had met on the station, and even a portrait of Marcus himself. You made me look too noble, Marcus said, looking at his portrait. I am just a soldier. You are wrong, Princess Zixandra said. You are a protector. You fight for people who cannot fight for themselves. That is very noble. I fight for money, Marcus protested. No, the princess said firmly. You could have demanded a huge payment for helping save the station. Instead, you spent the day healing wounded aliens for free. You fight for money, but you live for something much better. Marcus felt his face get warm. No one had ever described him as noble before. What do you live for? He asked. Princess Zixandra looked at her drawings spread across the table. I used to think I lived for duty and honor. But tonight I think I live for moments like this. When someone trusts me enough to share their supplies with me. When I can create something beautiful instead of destroying something ugly. The Empire is lucky to have you, Marcus said. Maybe, Princess Zixandra said. But I think I am luckier to have found a friend who reminds me who I really am. As they prepared for sleep, Princess Zixandra carefully put her drawings away in the notebook. Marcus took his position by the window, ready to watch over her through the night. Marcus? She said as she lay down. Yeah? Tomorrow is our last day sharing these quarters. I know. I do not want it to end, she said quietly. Neither do I, Marcus replied. The final day of the diplomatic summit arrived too quickly. Princess Zixandra woke up to find Marcus already dressed and packing his gear. Her heart felt heavy as she watched him fold his clothes and organize his weapons. You are eager to leave, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Not eager, Marcus replied. Just trying to stay busy so I do not think about leaving. Princess Zixandra smiled sadly. I have been doing the same thing. The summit's final session was scheduled to begin in 2 hours. Representatives from 50 different species would present their trade agreements and military treaties. Then everyone would return to their home worlds, and life would go back to normal. But Princess Zixandra did not want normal anymore. The last week had changed her in ways she was still discovering. Marcus, she said as they walked toward the main conference hall. What will you do after today? Go back to mercenary work, I guess, he said. Take whatever job pays well and does not require me to hurt innocent people. That sounds lonely. Marcus shrugged. I am used to being alone. What if you did not have to be alone? Princess Zixandra stopped walking and turned to face him. What if there was another option? Before Marcus could answer, they reached the conference hall. Hundreds of beings filled the enormous room. The walls were covered with banners from different worlds, and the air buzzed with conversations in dozens of languages. Princess Zixandra took her place at the Valtharian delegation's table. Marcus sat in the observers section, where non-diplomatic personnel were allowed to watch. But even from across the room, she could feel his presence like a warm fire. The morning sessions proceeded normally. Trade representatives argued about shipping routes and tariff agreements. Military advisors discussed border patrols and defense treaties. Everything was logical, organized, and predictable. Then Princess Zixandra stood up. Honored delegates, she said, her voice carrying clearly through the hall. I request permission to address the assembly on a matter of galactic security. The conference moderator, a tall alien with golden skin, gestured for her to continue. The chair recognizes Princess Zixandra of the Valtharian Empire. Thank you, the princess said. She walked to the center of the room, where all delegates could see her. 5 days ago, this station was attacked by pirates using human-style tactical methods. Chaotic, unpredictable, and highly effective against traditional defensive strategies. Murmurs of concern rippled through the crowd. Many species had heard about the attack but did not know the details. The attackers were not human, Princess Zixandra continued, but they had learned to fight like humans. Random timing, irregular patterns, emotional decision-making instead of logical planning. My own people were helpless against such tactics. The Valtharian delegation looked shocked. Their princess was admitting weakness in front of the entire galaxy. However, Princess Zixandra said, her voice growing stronger, working with a human fighter named Marcus Chun, we were able to defeat the attackers completely. His chaotic methods complemented our logical strategies. Together, we were unstoppable. She turned to look directly at Marcus. This experience has taught me something important. The galaxy is changing. New threats require new solutions. Isolated species will not survive what is coming. What are you proposing? Asked a delegate from the Hegemony Coalition. I am proposing an alliance, Princess Zixandra said. Not just trade agreements or defense treaties, but true cooperation. Species sharing their unique strengths to create combined forces stronger than any of us alone. The Golden Moderator leaned forward. Can you be more specific? The Valtharian Empire offers to share our strategic knowledge with any species willing to teach us their unique combat methods, Princess Zixandra announced. We propose joint military units with mixed crews. Human adaptability, Valtharian logic, Crexan strength, Eldari speed, and whatever gifts other species can contribute. Excited conversations broke out across the hall. This was not the kind of proposal anyone had expected from the proud Valtharians. Furthermore, Princess Zixandra continued, I personally request that Marcus Chun be appointed as the first human liaison to the Valtharian court. His understanding of both human chaos and alien logic makes him uniquely qualified to help build these new alliances. Marcus felt his heart stop. She was offering him a real job, a purpose beyond just fighting for money. But more than that, she was offering him a chance to stay connected to the most amazing person he had ever met. The Valtharian delegation was whispering frantically among themselves. Finally, their senior ambassador stood up. Your Highness, he said carefully, this proposal was not approved by the Imperial Council. I am a princess of the realm, Zixandra replied firmly. I have the authority to negotiate treaties and appoint diplomatic staff. My proposal stands. The ambassador sat down, defeated. Everyone in the hall knew that Princess Zixandra was too valuable to the Empire for them to overrule her decisions. The chair will note the Valtharian proposal, the moderator said. Are there any immediate responses from other delegations? To everyone's surprise, the human delegation stood up. Their leader was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. The Terran Federation accepts the Valtharian proposal, she announced. We also nominate Marcus Chun for the liaison position, pending his acceptance. Other delegations began standing and voicing support. The Crexan Empire offered to contribute their engineering expertise. The Eldari Republic wanted to share their navigation knowledge. Even smaller species that rarely participated in galactic politics expressed interest in joining the alliance. Within an hour, the foundation for a new kind of cooperation had been established. Princess Zixandra had single-handedly changed the direction of galactic politics. When the session finally ended, Marcus made his way through the crowd toward the princess. She was surrounded by diplomats and reporters, but her eyes found his immediately. So, he said when they were finally alone, Did you just offer me a job? I offered you a partnership, Princess Zixandra said. If you want it, What would I do as a liaison? Help me build something that has never existed before, she said. Mixed crews, shared knowledge, combined strengths. It will be chaotic and unpredictable and probably impossible. Sounds perfect for me, Marcus grinned. There is one more thing, Princess Zixandra said, her voice becoming softer. The liaison position requires you to spend significant time on Valthar Prime. You would need quarters at the royal palace. Separate quarters? Marcus asked. Princess Zixandra felt her face grow warm. That would be the traditional arrangement. What if we do not want to be traditional? Then we would need to share quarters, she said quietly. But that would mean... She trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. That would mean what? Marcus prompted gently. It would mean you were my mate, Princess Zixandra whispered. In my culture, only mates share sleeping quarters. Are you prepared for that? Marcus looked into her purple eyes and saw hope, fear, and affection all mixed together. This incredible woman was offering him not just a job, but a life partnership with someone who understood him completely. Princess, he said formally, I accept your offer of employment as human liaison to the Valtharian court. Her face fell slightly. Just the employment? And, Marcus continued, stepping closer, I accept your offer of shared quarters, if you are sure that is what you want. Princess Zixandra's smile could have lit up the entire station. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. Good, Marcus said, because I lost my heart to you somewhere between the combat trial and watching you paint by starlight. You lost your heart to a logical, emotionally repressed alien princess. I lost my heart to a brilliant, beautiful woman who just revolutionized galactic politics because she was not afraid to admit when she needed help. Marcus corrected. Princess Zixandra reached into her bag and pulled out the notebook he had given her. I drew something for you, she said shyly. Marcus opened the notebook to the last drawing. It showed the two of them standing together on a balcony overlooking a purple ocean. In the background, silver spires reached toward stars that looked like scattered jewels. But the most amazing part was their faces. The princes had captured something in their expressions that Marcus had never seen before. They looked happy, peaceful, and complete. Is that your home? He asked. Our home, she corrected. If you want it to be. I want it, Marcus said. I want you. I want the job. I want the impossible alliance you are going to build. And I want to watch you paint sunrises over that purple ocean every morning for the rest of my life. Princess Zixandra laughed, a sound like silver bells that made everyone in the hallway turn to look. She had spent so many years hiding her emotions that she had forgotten how good it felt to let them show. What are you laughing about? Marcus asked, grinning. I was just thinking about how this started, she said. I made a bet because I was too proud to admit a human could beat me. I thought I was gambling my quarters for a week. What were you really gambling? Everything, Princess Zixandra said, taking his hand. My assumptions, my prejudices, my entire way of thinking. I lost the bet, but I won something much more valuable. What did you win? I won a partner who sees my strengths and accepts my weaknesses, she said. I won a friend who taught me that chaos and logic can work together.